Hello and welcome. My name is Liam Harder and I'm the creator behind Dios3DWorld. I wanted to create an elevator system that can easily be implemented into your project, and in this tutorial I want to show you how easy it is. This video consists of 3 parts. Firstly, I'm going to show you how to set up the elevator system in your scene. Secondly, how to prepare your character with the animations. And lastly, how you can change the blueprint to work with your characters. Please note that this elevator system is not multiplayer ready. With that out of the way, let's get started. For demonstration, I will set up the elevator for the structure I quickly came up with. For the first step, everything you need is in the blueprints folder. Here you drag and drop one elevator and 2 blueprints into your scene and place everything where it needs to be. Both blueprints have some settings to tweak, and we start with the elevator. In my opinion, it's the easiest to change the variables from top to bottom. With the first 2 variables, you select the top and bottom lever via the dropdown or the eyedropper. This is used to communicate between the blueprints. Next, you select one of 3 styles that fit your scene best via the dropdown. With travel time, you set the time in seconds that the elevator needs for one trip up or down. Because of the audio that comes with this pack, the fastest travel time is set to 5 seconds, but there is no limit to make it slower. Then, with travel height, you can set the distance the elevator will travel up or down. And with the next checkbox is at bottom, you can set the starting position of the elevator to the top or the bottom location. Also, you can check if the travel height is set correctly with this checkbox. In the next category, you find all the variables to control the hoist system. Basically, that's the, depending on the style, rope or chain measures that visually pull the elevator platforms up. Firstly, you can decide if you want a hoist system or not by ticking the first checkbox. The next checkbox will be useful with another blueprint that will be explained later. The length of the hoist system will by default be calculated by adding 400 units to the selected travel height. If this is not enough, so that the hoist measures won't go into the roof of the elevator room, you can tick the last checkbox to set your desired length via the variable beneath. The last vector variable will also be explained later on. Lastly, in the sound category, you can set your own sound attenuation and the sound volume. With that, the elevator is set up for now. Let's continue with the levers. By selecting one of the levers, you can in the details panel select the elevator you want to control with this lever. If you have selected the lever first through the elevator, the lever is automatically set to the elevator and you can move on. This, however, only works for the first time you set up this lever. If you have already selected an elevator here, you will have to change it manually if you want to control a different elevator. Note that the levers and elevators do not communicate with each other if not both lever and elevator have selected each other. Next, you can choose a matching style to the elevator via the dropdown. With the next 2 variables, you can set your own pop-up widgets for when the lever can't be used. The upper one will be displayed if the lever was already pulled, the elevator is moving, or the elevator is already on the same level as the lever you try to pull on. The lower one will be displayed if you tick the variable below Disable First Use and you try to pull on the lever. With Disable First Use ticked, you basically turn the whole elevator into a shortcut mechanism by disabling the levers until you use the elevator at least once via the pressure plate. In the last category, you can set your own sound attenuation and set the sound volume. And with that, your basic setup is now ready to be used. Next, I will show you how to hide the hoist system if it gets into your way outside of the elevator, as seen here on the platform above the elevator. For that, you select your elevator, and under the hoist system category, you can now tick the checkbox Hide Hoist. With this ticked, the hoist measures will not be rendered unless the player overlaps with the trigger box, which you can scale to the size of your elevator shaft with the vector variable hoist visibility trigger scale right beneath. If you have additional areas in which the hoist mesh should be visible, you can drag and drop the BP elevator hoist visibility blueprint into your scene and scale it to the size you need. While you have selected the blueprint, you can select as many elevators as you like to control with this blueprint via the eyedropper in the Details panel. If you need multiple blueprints to cover the area in which the hoist should be visible, make sure the blueprints, including the elevator, overlap each other at least a little bit to ensure there will not be glitches. Lastly, set the index of each blueprint to a unique number, but keep it as low as possible. Note that you can have multiple blueprints in your scene that have, for example, an index of 0. However, make sure that no blueprints with the same index overlap, otherwise the system won't work. For example, here are 3 blueprints next to each other, and 2 of them have an index of 0. However, the system works because they are separated by another blueprint that has a different index, in this case index of 1. This completes the setup of the elevator system. This pack comes with an animation for the epic skeleton, so that your character can pull on the levers. Firstly, you need to retarget the pulling animation to your character skeleton. After you have retargeted the animation, open up the animation blueprint of your character. Next, we need a way to communicate with the anim blueprint via a blueprint interface. For that, go over to the class settings and under the interface category, click the Add button and select BP Elevator Interface, and lastly compile the blueprint. After that, you can right-click into your event graph and search for Event Pull Lever. You can see that the event is from the blueprint interface via this little icon. When you double-click on the pulling animation, you can see that the animation has an anim notify at the end. With this, you can add the anim notify event into your graph by right-clicking and searching for pull lever end. Next, you create a Boolean variable and call it, for example, lever. Then you pull the variable 2 times into your graph and hook them up to both events like this. Make sure the interface event sets the variable to true and the anim notify event sets it to false. With this, the event graph is finished and we can go to the animation graph. Here you go into your movement state machine and add a new stage, which you can call, for example, pulling levers. Next, you connect the new stage with your idle state in both directions. By double-clicking on the new state, you can drag and drop the pulling animation in and hook it up to the output node. After that, you go back and open up the transition rules to the new state machine and hook up the lever boolean variable directly to the result node. Then again, go back and open up the transition rule back to the idle state. Here you also drop in the lever variable, however you connect a not boolean node in between like this. Now your animations are set up. The last thing that needs some changes is the lever, and therefore you open up the lever blueprint. Firstly, on the most left side in the red comment, you can swap the E input node to your, if you have one, project interaction input node. Beneath and a bit to the right, also in a red comment, you can delete the cast to third person character node and add a cast to node for your character blueprint and hook it up like this. Next, you select the player variable and change the variable type to your character blueprint by typing the name into the search bar. Now compile the blueprint. You may get an error message, but don't worry, you can click that away. In the last step, you connect now the blue connection between player variable and your cast2 node. And in the yellow comment, you delete the red connection at the player variable and connect the blue output like so. And with that, everything is completed and should work as intended. I hope this video was helpful, and if you still have problems with this project, you can contact me via my support email. If you like this project, please leave a like and a comment. Enjoy the elevator rides, and thank you for watching.